Well, it is a nice foggy morning and we are headed to do another soil test on a property that is it's a rather large property. So let's go get this soil test going and see what kind of dirt we've got. Well, we're here. This is where we're going to perform the soil test. Jack is back there unloading. The fun part about this endeavor, Mr. Banks, is we got to go through those woods somewhere and get all the way up there on top of that hill, don't we?
Yes, you do.
It's gonna be a little bit of an adventure, right?
It's gonna be something.
So we're gonna drive down through here. There's a creek just on the other side of this tree line. We're gonna drive down through here and see if we can find a spot to cross. Well, we weren't able to find a path for the Jeep, but we were able to talk to an adjoining property owner that was nice enough to let us track across his yard to get to this wide open field where we need to do a soil test. Jack's behind us. We're gonna head to the top of this hill and dig some test holes. All right, everybody. Right in here somewhere is the potential home building site. This home will have a basement. And the reason that I come on site and customers pay me to be here is because I don't know the soil that well. Jack is the professional with the soil, but when it comes to the actual home site, I understand the elevations needed for basements and walkouts and all of those things and how the dirt work has to be performed. And we install enough systems that we have a good understanding of how far that system should be or can be or needs to be away from the home building site. And in this situation, right in here, there's going to be an actual basement in the ground. And to ensure that this potential customer does not need a pump and grinder, we want to be 9 feet in elevation lower when we dig our test holes. So we're going to go down in this small valley, which is not a runoff. It is not a natural runoff. And I state that because if you do have a natural runoff, the health department does not like all that water going into your field bed. The other thing that I do like about this is it looks like we are less than 15% slope, which is a good thing. The other thing I like about it is we have enough real estate that basically we have the option to install any system real estate wise. Now it all comes down to just the dirt quality. If the dirt quality is optimum for any system, we can quote it multiple different ways, and then it comes down to what type of system the customer really wants. Let's go move some dirt. So we're covering up the first test hole due to the fact that we hit the Fragipan hard pan at 24 inches. The minimum we need is 28. We're not quite there. So I'm assuming we're gonna bump uphill a little bit and then we'll kind of test across the hill, hoping that we can get at minimum at 24-inch depth. Let's see what the next hole brings. Test hole number 2. Number 1 failed the test. I'm hearing a little bit of rockage, but it doesn't sound like it's solid. Still breaking up all right. Ooh, that there might be the pan. Maybe. Getting pretty chunky. Still small rocks. Still breaking up pretty good. There's a pan. I think you finally found the pan there, Jack. No? Really? I'll be darned. I was wrong, folks. That isn't a pan. By golly, it is rock. Now for the steps. Got both steps. There is a little bit of topsoil here. About 8 inches thick. There wasn't any over there. Jack is digging his steps out. We'll be back when he gets in the hole. Sure.
Absolutely.
Well, all right, we've got 3 holes dug. We did find good dirt, good soil, however you want to call it. The professional is in his hole, and he's got some interesting facts to give us today. He's going to take some depths here real quick to ensure that he's got all the data he needs. But what he's going to talk to us about today is why this soil is different than the tests that I have on my channel. And he's got 2 catchphrases. I'm going to probably interrupt him to make sure he says it because I love them. They're just absolutely awesome. So Jack, what we got here, bud?
Hello folks, Jack Coulter again. Folks, we're in a different county today. Which means we have the opportunity to be in different parent material, and we are actually in an area that's underlain by limestone. Our other sites have been in sandstone and shale territory. Up here we are in limestone, so part of the soil developed from limestone. The upper part is still, we have loess, we have the wind blowing soil. If you remember, we've talked about that. But I want to talk today about why the limestone soils can be different from the other soils. All right, you remember we talk about structure as being an important component of soil description. Well, this loess layer here, this BT1 we call it, the loess breaks apart. It has structure, but the pieces are rounded and ill-defined. They are not like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. They're more roundish, erratic shapes. When we get down from the 27-inch depth and below, That layer developed from limestone bedrock, and limestone imparts a lot of clay to the soil and a lot of hematite iron. The hematite iron means that when it oxidizes, you get real bright red colors, which that's pretty interesting here.
Absolutely.
You can see how red this soil is. That is an indication of oxidized iron. And the reason, and this particular soil is also pretty high in clay. When you rub it out, it sticks together, it smears. So people say, okay, how can that let water go through? Well, the reason is it has what we call strong structure. If you take this soil and crumble it, it breaks apart into little bitty pieces that are well defined. That's almost like pea gravel or coarse sand. All those little pieces stay together, stay individual, I should say, and that allows the water to go down through it just like it would gravel or sand or some coarse material.
And when you say it allows it to go through it, you're talking it goes through it quicker.
That's right.
Than the other
this
soil.
Soil has a higher loading rate than this less soil on top, even though this is higher in clay. So
now,
folks, clay is not always bad.
Let's back
Yes.
up to that color. Red
We're
is
gonna
what?
Talk about that.
Huh?
We're going to talk about that. We've talked about color in all these videos, but we never get any red like we have up here. And what this real bright red tells us is the water's moving through the soil quickly. So I have a saying that everyone gets a kick out of. It's called redder's better. And meaning if you have a real bright oxidized soil, it's not holding water. Water's moving right on through it. The other core statement I like to make is deeper's cheaper.
And you're definitely deep there, sir.
Our limiting layer is, we haven't hit any here. We're down to 5 feet. We didn't hit a pan, we didn't hit bedrock. So we have a nice deep hole with some red soil with strong structure. So that means we get a pretty good system here in terms of cost, and it's going to work really well.
Now, due to the bedroom count of this potential home, chambers could work here. The contour really makes it interesting, so it's probably not something we'd recommend, but the bedroom count of this potential home build really turns this into the same system we talk about all the time, the Presby system.
Yes, because of even though this has a high loading rate here, the other two holes don't match up exactly. They're good soil. One's really good, one's average, but the loading rate over the whole area ends up being a 0.3. That means that we can't handle as many bedrooms as we'd like without a pump or some modification. So that tends to kick this into a into a sand line system, which due to its nature can handle more bedrooms without a lot of extra help from a pump.
And it also keeps the square footage down. So while Jack finishes that hole there, let's go over and look at the other hole where Jack's comment of redder is better, because I'm here to tell you folks, this sucker's red. I don't think I've ever seen a test hole dig out this red. Look at that soil. You talk about red. It really pops against that green, and you can see how that really fine, it's a strong structure. It just stays fine and you can just keep breaking it down. That stuff, I tell you, never seen it anywhere else, but you look down in this hole, you see the topsoil because it's a darker color, and then boom, straight to red. So that water goes down through this soil much faster. Hey, we have a friend down in there. There's a mole. Hi, buddy. We'll put your house back. This is just great soil. So now let's go over here and look at hole number 3, because there is actually a gray section that can kind of show you where the water doesn't filter through as fast. So you can see the bottom of this pile is the starting point of the hole, and then as the pile gets taller, the hole gets deeper. You can see that darker colored on top, red, and then it lightens up in the bottom, but you can really see that well here in the pile of dirt. You've got red, and then you start to get some grays and tan. So this is where that absorption slows down, because the red, as Jack stated, water allows itself to get through faster, and the iron goes through, turns into this gray. That's some pretty interesting test holes there. And this is a beautiful site. Well, all right, Jack is loading up the Mini. That is the end of this soil test. We didn't get to go bebopping through the woods in the Jeep. Thankfully, that bordering property let us track right up through there. We didn't mess up his yard. Went in, came out, no big deal. Hopefully you guys enjoy. I'm sure there'll be more to come. But as always, like, comment, subscribe.